In 1879, in Boston, there's a bank a woman can finally walk into and be treated like she matters. Run by a woman, for women only, paying 8% a month. A month. Interest no real bank would even dare to issue. It never advertises, and still the money flowed in. $250,000 from 1,200 women as far away as Chicago, and inside of a year, every cent of it will be gone. And the woman who built it wasn't a banker. She had spent her whole life learning to sell people on one thing. And the bank was just the biggest version of it she'll ever pull off. Sarah Howe was for the most part of her life a fortune teller. A worried woman comes into the dim room. Sarah presses her fingers against her temples and tells her exactly what she came to hear. For that, she pays. That's the whole job. Find out what a person is desperate to believe and sell it back to them. She didn't stop at fortune telling though, because by 1870 she had been arrested more than once for small cons. Once borrowing against the same furniture twice. And by every account, she was an ordinary-looking, middle-aged woman. The kind nobody looks at twice. Then she had an idea. What if she didn't con just one frightened person at a time, but a whole room of them? She looked at 1879 Boston and saw the people every bank ignored. Single women, widows, spinsters, housekeepers, school teachers. Women with little money, almost no legal right to it, and nowhere safe to keep it. To the banks, a nuisance. To Sarah, the perfect target. Not because they were foolish, but because they were alone and aching to be taken seriously. So she built them a room. The ladies' deposit, she called it. No men were allowed in. Inside, deep carpets, raw silk, old gold. She would sit a new arrival down, compliment her, treat her like royalty, and one woman described it as a single word, sympathetic. And the impossible part? 8% a month. This wasn't a bank, she would say. It was a charity, quietly funded by the Quaker philanthropists. Except there was none. Just Sarah, a beautiful room, and a story too kind to even question. So, if there was no charity and no investments, where is the 8% coming from? She never advertised. To get in, you had to be referred by the woman already inside. The one rule turned her victims into her sales force. A woman joins, months later her interest arrives, real money, in her hand, exactly as promised. So she tells the woman she loves, her sister, her best friend, the woman beside her in the pew. It comes from someone they already trust, so they don't check, they join. The bank spread hand to hand through every chain of trust in the city, and then passed it. 1,200 women, $250,000, and by some accounts, twice that. Sarah bought herself a $40,000 mansion, paid for it in rubber-banded cash. She had turned trust into a machine, and by that same trust, she was about to be the one reason none of these women could see what was coming. So where was the 8% coming from? If you haven't guessed already, yes, from the next woman. And the next. Every new deposit paid the interest of the woman before. No charity, no investment. Just new money covering old promises in a circle that spins only as long as new women kept coming through the door. The oldest trick in the book, and we call it the Ponzi scheme. Except that Charles Ponzi was still a small boy in Italy while Sarah Howe was already running it to perfection. A machine like this has one fatal flaw. The day new money slows, it dies. It's the morning of September 25th, 1880. A Boston paper, the Advertiser, runs the first of a series of stories under a quiet headline, A Mysterious Bank. It doesn't crack the secret, it just asks in print the question nobody inside had let themselves ask. How is this possibly real? That's all it took. At first, the women defend her. The papers are run by men, they say, who never wanted this place to exist. But fear travels the way the money did. Friend to friend, down the same chain. And by the week's end, they come for their savings. Outside, the streets fill with women, deposit book in hand, and inside, Sarah pays what she can. About $80,000 until the money runs out. Because there was never anything behind it. One of them told the reporter, I put every dollar I had into the bank, and if I lose it, I am a beggar. Another had mortgaged her own furniture just to make the deposit. "I wish I hadn't now," she said, "for I shall have my goods sold from under my head." That is who Sarah Howe chose. On October 16th, 1880, she was arrested. At trial, what finally sank her wasn't the missing money. It was the Quaker charity that never existed. As one magazine put it, she had no more hold over the Quakers as she had upon the Pope. 3 years, she served all of them, and the day she walked out in 1884, she opened another bank. Same trick, new name. This time she called it the Woman's Bank. When it collapsed, she surfaced in Chicago and tried a third time. She never stopped. She died in 1892, 65, penniless and alone in a boarding house. Back to telling fortunes for 25 cents a reading. And to the end, she insisted she had done nothing wrong. "It was not I. I did no swindling," she said. And maybe to her, she meant it. Sarah Howe never thought of herself as a banker. She was a fortune teller. And her whole life, she did one thing. She found the story a person most wanted to be true and sold it back to them. The bank was just the biggest fortune she ever told. They weren't fools. They had finally found a place that felt safe. And that was the lock. When everyone you trust is already inside, look twice. Read the footnotes.